Okay, we know you're totally excited to get started creating apps, and we promise we'll have you on your way in just a second. But before we can do that, there are a couple of things we have to do on the computer to get the system set up to allow you to develop the apps. There are instructions online, but there are a few tricks with the written instructions that sometimes it's just more helpful to see. And so that's why this video exists. We're going to go right to the computer and we're going to take you through the steps and show you where the tricks are. So follow right along. Alright, so if you want to start building an app, the first thing you need to do is actually download MIT's App Inventor software onto your desktop or laptop. There's a bunch of ways you can do that, but the easiest way is probably to start here at maintechnovation.org. If you visit maintechnovation.org, you can find a short link that will take you right to the website. So here's how to find it. From maintechnovation.org, under Self-Paced Curriculum, you'll notice Session 0 before you begin has a link that says you need to download MIT's App Inventor to your laptop or desktop. Follow these instructions to see how to do that. If you click the link for these instructions, it actually takes you right to the page you need on App Inventor's website. So once you're here, you have 3 different options for how you can install App Inventor and get started. So let's talk about the 3 options. First of all, if you happen to be cool enough to have an Android device, and that would be either a smartphone or a tablet, you actually have the easiest time of all. You don't have to download anything. You can just develop right from a website and through Wi-Fi sync it onto your device. The second option is if you happen to not have an Android device, it's still okay. You can still work with App Inventor and you can still build an app. And what you'll be looking for is option 2, which is if you don't have an Android device, use these instructions. Alright, we're not even going to talk about option 3 because you should be using option 1 or 2 for this program. So for option 1, if you are one of those people with an Android device, alright, follow along with me here. So option 1, build apps with an Android device and Wi-Fi connection. If you click the hot link for instructions, it's going to take you to the site that allows you to sync your computer and your device. The thing you need to know here, and this is where I mentioned there was a trick, the trick is that in order to actually develop an app this way, without downloading anything, there's a website right here. This is App Inventor's cloud-based development site, this ai2.appinventor.mit.edu. When you click on that, that's actually the site you would go to start developing your app. But here's why it's tricky. When you click that link, it takes you to a Google login account. And you might think, oh, I went to the wrong page or that was a mistake. This is meant to be. It's supposed to take you here because at this point, the only way you can develop an app in App Inventor is to have a Google account. We mentioned this before that you either need to have a Gmail account or if your school-based account is hosted by Google Apps, then you can use that here. So hopefully you have one. If not, you obviously need to create an account and quickly get one. But I'm assuming you're at this point you have one. So go ahead and log in at gmail.com. All right, and it's up to you if you want to take the survey. We'll do it later. This is the site. This is what App Inventor looks like, and it's actually cloud-based. So you are now, once you've logged in, this is the place you need to be to start programming. You can use New Project and go from there, and we'll talk about that much later. When you're ready and you have an app developed that you want to try on your device, you will actually need to follow the rest of the steps listed on this website to make sure that your phone has the app on it. It's a companion app, and it's the one that allows you to sync what you created in the cloud with what's on your device. And there are instructions here for how you can either use the Play Store or just do a manual update here, getting this QR code to download the app directly. So follow the rest of these instructions. There's no trick from here on out. Everything else should work fine. So I'm going to leave you to do this if you happen to be one of the people who has an Android device. So for the people who do not have an Android device, either a smartphone or a tablet, no worries, you can still download a particular piece of software that will allow you to create apps the same way you would if you had a device, and you get to use something called an emulator to see how they would look on your screen. So what you're looking for is option 2. If you don't have an Android device, use the emulator. And there's a link for instructions. If you click on that link, it's going to take you to the page that has 3 different options for where you can install the setup software. If you have a Mac, you'll click on the Mac one. If you have Windows-based PC, you'll click on that one. If you're using a Mac, it's one more step and you're done. Once you do the download the installer link and you actually open it and follow through all of the instructions that are here, it will officially be installed on your computer. Now you'll have the same trick that our friends with the Android devices had, that when you click Setup Emulator, you'll actually need to go right up here to the top. This is kind of another tricky spot. The emulator is running if you're on a Mac. It's there. There's nothing else you have to do. You would just click this bright orange Create button at the top of your screen, and that's what's going to take you right into the cloud-based app Inventor area where you can start to develop your app. And like I said before, if you're not logged in with your Gmail or Google-based account, you'll need to do that. But once you get logged in, again, you see the same screen, and this is your landing page. This is your home base for developing any of your new projects, and you'll just get started with a new app development right here. If you have a Windows-based PC, you'll click on the instructions for the Windows-based PC, and it's the same process where you'll need to click on these different install buttons. Here it is, to download the installer, and then you'll follow along all of these instructions and get it installed onto your desktop or laptop that's a PC. But the difference here is that you will actually need to set up an emulator with one more step. So when you click Setup Emulator, there's this step 2 here that you need to launch the AI starter, and that's if you have a Windows machine. Remember, if you were on a Mac, you don't need to do this. If you're on a Mac, go straight up to the top to the orange Create button and get started. But if you have a PC, one more step, you'll need to actually do this piece right here with the AI starter launch, and you can follow these instructions to see how to do it. Once you do that, the same trick applies that has applied to the other two people here, the other two groups here. You'll need to do this bright orange Create button, and it's this Create button that will prompt you to log into your Google account if you're not logged in, and will take you right here to your landing page for your App Inventor project. So you should have everything you need now to get started developing apps. Just as a quick reminder, if I were you, I would bookmark this page right here where we are, the App Inventor setup page, and I would also bookmark the page that if you were to click Create, the page it takes you to when you click Create, which is ai2.appinventor.mit.edu. This site right here is the one where you will be spending most of your time because this is where you develop your apps. So I would definitely bookmark this page so that every time you come back to it, it either logs you into your Gmail account automatically or you quickly log in and you're back on this landing page. But the reason I would also bookmark this setup page is because when you're ready, when you have an app prototype developed and you want to actually see what it would look like, this page is going to give you the instructions for either, if you're using an Android device, how to make sure that the device is talking to the computer so that your app prototype ends up right on the screen where you want it. And again, if you're using the emulator, this page again, the one you bookmarked, will have the instructions for how you make sure that once you've developed a project, right here step 3, connect to the emulator, once you've developed something in the App Inventor cloud, you'll be able to see what it looks like on an emulator, and it looks kind of like this. So you'll see what it looks like if it were on a phone. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you now have everything you need to get started developing apps. Bookmark this page right here, the Setting Up App Inventor 2 page, and then also bookmark the cloud page, ai2.appinventor.mit.edu. And we will see you soon with some new projects. Can't wait to see what you're going to create.